And so the companies that really stand out in their market may be small, but they're doing a lot of PR. And then suddenly people are like, oh, I see their trucks everywhere. They may only have 10 trucks on the road, but it seems like they're bigger. You can do PR once, twice, 3 times a year. It doesn't have to be ongoing if you're not big enough. There's something out there you can announce, whether it's, hey, what do you do when the pipes are about to freeze? We're about to get the coldest cold of the winter so far. What can homeowners do? Write a press release and send it to your media. Be that expert.
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street. And this week, we're fortunate to meet Heather Ripley. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you so much.
So quick intro on Heather. Heather is a leading expert on marketing within the home services industry and founder and CEO of the global agency Ripley PR, that's public relations, in her hometown of Maryville, Tennessee. The global PR agency, which is now the #1 home services public relations agency. Ripley PR was named by Forbes as one of America's best PR agencies in 2021 and recognized by Entrepreneur Magazine as the top franchise PR agency 3 years in a row. She has a new book, Next Level Now, PR Secrets to Drive Explosive Growth for Your Home Services Business. And with us, she's going to share more than a decade's worth of PR and strategic communications expertise. And what should listeners get out of this episode? PR is not just something for big companies. It's something for your business, smaller and up-and-coming companies, including home services businesses. And with Heather's advice, you can build your brand and achieve lead flow inexpensively through smart PR. So Heather, welcome to the show. And to get us started, just maybe tell us a little bit about you. How'd you get started? What got you into PR? And why did you start Ripley PR?
Thank you. So I started marketing about 20 years ago, and I was working internally for several different companies, large and small. And in 2008, I started working with one of the largest home service franchisors in the country in Sarasota. And I quickly realized that these guys were talking plumbers, electricians, home service, residential home service companies. They knew marketing very, very well. They were doing a lot right. They didn't realize how much PR could make the phone ring and, build momentum for their business, build credibility, become the expert in their market. So while I was helping sell franchises, I was also helping the contractors in their local markets get on TV, get interviews, fell in love with it. So that's how my career started in home service.
Great. So we'll get into all that, but I'm curious, you got a new book out, Next Level Now. Why did you write the book?
I knew that a lot of home service contractors, everything from garage doors, landscapers, they're in people's homes every day. They're building businesses, they're savvy. And they all think that they're not big enough to do PR, or they think that it's just for crisis or reputation management after something bad happens. And I knew that I could help serve more companies by giving them the tools to do things themselves when they're small. Every company can benefit from some PR. It could be one press release a year. Tell your community that you're there. So I wanted to empower more and teach them how to do PR, and then teach them what PR was.
Got it. Okay, so let's peel back the onion on this PR issue and how it impacts small businesses and particularly home services. So in your book, you draw a distinction between marketing, public relations, advertising, and branding. So what are the differences?
Yeah, well, PR should fall in a marketing budget. The difference is I look at advertising as something that you control 100% of the message. You control where it's placed, what is said, how big your logo is. You control all of that, but you pay for it. Marketing is everything. It's your logo on your shirt. It's your technicians in somebody's home wearing shoe covers. You know, it's everything that you can think of that has to do with your brand and your image. PR is what third-party people are saying about your company, or the perception of who your company is. And that usually starts with third parties talking about you, whether it's the media, whether it's people on social media sites, all of that is PR. And so what we do is we help tell your company story through the media.
Got it. So you said, I think a minute ago, many smaller businesses think PR is just for, crises, that it's really something mostly done by big companies. How kind of dispel that myth? Why is PR relevant to my, $1 million home services or roofing or HVAC business?
Well, if you think about it, everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's trying to get attention with their truck. They're trying to buy placement somewhere, whether it's a radio spot or a TV spot. Some are still doing direct mail, and that works sometimes. They're using door hangers if they're in your neighborhood. Everybody is doing the same thing, and it's sometimes it works, but it's confusing. And so the companies that really stand out in their market may be small, but they're doing a lot of PR. And then suddenly people are like, oh, I see their trucks everywhere. They may only have 10 trucks on the road, but it seems like they're bigger. But yes, like you said, you can do PR once, twice, 3 times a year. It doesn't have to be ongoing if you're not big enough. There's something out there you can announce, whether it's, hey, what do you do when the pipes are about to freeze? We're about to get the coldest cold of the winter so far. What can homeowners do? Write a press release and send it to your media. Be that expert.
Okay. So you did say leads before, that many small businesses don't realize how PR can generate leads. And obviously leads is sort of the lifeblood of every small business. They need the phone to ring. They need new customers coming in the door. So when you talk about leads, the lifeblood of a small business, how does PR generate leads? How does that happen?
PR plays a role. It's one of those things that's very hard to measure. When you get a call and you say, how did you hear about us? They may have just seen your owner being interviewed on TV. They may have just seen your name in the newspaper. They may have also seen the billboard. So it depends on which one they recall. Getting your name out there over and over and over is going to stick in people's mind better. But we have had clients that we get on TV as an expert, not a TV ad, but interviewed either in studio or in a home, and they're talking about tips for homeowners. They're talking about electrical safety. Those things, you can't just make that happen once and then it goes away. What you do is you get that interview, and then you get the clip from the TV station. You put it on your website, you put it on your social media, you share it. Your technicians the next day are saying, hey, did you see our owner was interviewed last night on NBC? And that really goes a long way toward credibility. So it does generate leads. What I say with home service companies is it makes the sale easier. When somebody calls, they're dispatching a technician into the home. They still have to sell them. So anything you can do then to build credibility in the home is going to help you sell.
Okay. So Heather, you're out there pitching your business to home services businesses and getting hired. Let's say maybe somebody's listening to this right now saying, I've been thinking about that PR thing. Maybe I'll give Heather a call. They call you. Maybe they like you and what you have to offer, and they hire you. Take it from there. What do you do? Do you design a strategy? Do you give them tactics? Like, what happens when you get hired?
Yeah, so great question. I'll talk to them and find out what their goals are. Usually it's one of 3 or 4 goals. They either have had the business for a while. They're looking to hand it off to their son gradually over the next few years. They're looking to get acquired by a bigger company. They're looking to hire more people, or they may be looking to buy other businesses. We get hired a lot because they want to find help. They want our help finding other businesses who are maybe struggling. So what we'll do is we'll put together the strategy, we'll talk to them, and we'll put together a plan for them to make their goal happen. So if it's a handoff to the son, we'll slowly start integrating their son as a spokesperson. If they want to be acquired, we'll, put that out there. We've found that companies are worth more if they have publicity, lots of publicity building their brand up.
Typically, when you get hired, how long does an engagement last?
Typically, it's either a 4 to 6 week campaign with us, or it's an annual retainer.
Got it. Okay. Now, when it comes to generating leads, many small businesses use, traditional lead sources, everything from print and online directories, local search, social media advertising, sometimes email marketing, and so forth. Are those lead sources you recommend? Is that part of like what's in your, kind of bailiwick? Does that sit outside? But tell us how does all that lead gen interwork with what you do?
It does all play a part. The only thing that our internal team does not do, and we work with partners, is websites, digital ads, and things like that. We are traditional PR, and we do content creation. So we do social media, and we do get leads for our clients that way too, especially LinkedIn, for our B2B clients. So yeah, the strategies are, we work alongside another marketing agency, or we work with their internal marketing team. We definitely work as a whole marketing team. And you mentioned leads again, and it made me think we do work with a lot of sauce companies, and those companies are looking to lower their cost of new customers. And they found that PR helps them do that, because they're not having to educate their customers on who they are. So yeah, it definitely helps with lead generation and then closing those sales too.
Okay. Now talk about reviews. You see lots of reviews out there today. Are reviews important for home services businesses? I mean, I tend to think of reviews, when you go to a restaurant, is the food good? You sort of look at the reviews for that, but are people looking at and trusting reviews for plumbers and HVAC and home services businesses?
They are, and I think I'm starting to see the trend away from that a little bit. With something like Yelp, the good reviews are buried. So it's really frustrating for these business owners because the negative ones pop up first. What we do, we do work with our clients on reviews management. We help them craft responses, and we recommend responding to everything good and bad. And we've shared too that some of those negative reviews, you're never going to make that person happy regardless. But what you can do is craft a response that other people see, and they know that you're on top of it, and they can kind of see through the 2% of people that are never going to be happy.
Right. Now, do you do the writing, or does your client do the writing? I mean, I imagine there are a lot of managers of small businesses who say, Heather, I'm really good at, fixing plumbing, but I'm not a writer or a content creator. That's not my bag. Do you do it for them?
Yes, we do. Some of them write themselves, not so much everyone, but also for content, they'll create a selfie video and send it to us too. So as far as content creation goes, it's a mix. We have a team of writers who interviews our clients, gets the technical information, and then we kind of turn it into something pretty.
Right. I'm wondering if you could share with us any of your success stories. Can you think of one or two examples where you've done PR for a client and it's moved the needle?
I guess immediately what comes to mind is someone who was a client from the very beginning of my agency, who told me from day one he wanted to sell the company. He said, don't know when. This was 2013. And so we put together long tail strategy, position him as a thought leader. He had shared some ideas of what he wanted to do next. So we had a strategy for him, and we had a separate strategy for the company. And sure enough, 4 years later, he got an amazing offer, sold his company. Then he created a consulting business, and he had already built that clout online for him. So it was very easy. And he ended up making more money with the consulting business than his 20-something-year-old company. So
wow.
Cool. That's, not that unusual of a story, but it sticks with me because it was, it was one of my first that I partnered with at the very beginning of Ripley PR.
And was the PR that you generated for that client, was it print? Was it online? Was it TV? Was it radio? Like what were you able to do?
All of the above. This was a home service company in New Jersey. He serviced almost the whole state. But with media, if you're not physically in certain cities, it's very hard to get coverage in those cities because you're not considered local. So what we did was we got him a lot of coverage in the county that he was physically present. And then we got national media outside of that. So we got him on CNBC. I believe Forbes wrote about him, Financial Times, Success Magazine. So we had a twofold strategy that really built that brand into a statewide presence. So yeah, it was print, a lot of newspaper, it was a lot of TV stations, and some radio, as PSAs when we could issue those. And at the time, podcasts weren't nearly as big as they are now, but we do a lot of connections with podcast interviews and clients.
Got it. I'm curious about Ripley PR and how you get the word out about Ripley PR, like the PR for your PR firm. What's your strategy for getting your own name recognition and lead flow?
Yeah, we walk the walk. We do have assigned brand managers and everything in our office, and we treat our agency like a client. So, I'll have ideas just like our clients do, and then our team makes it happen. So we do PR for ourselves. We write blogs to keywords so that our target audience can find us. And we really just try to use PR and no paid marketing to build us and word of mouth, referrals, treating our clients like we would want to be treated. We've grown that way. So yeah, PR definitely works.
As you think about your PR clients, I wonder if many small businesses think, I can do that myself, or son, daughter, this isn't something I need to hire somebody to do. Why should somebody go outside and hire you as opposed to doing it themselves?
Really, the results are what's important. Some people can do it themselves. Quite frankly, they have the talent in-house, they can. The key difference between marketing and PR is that when you write to appeal to a journalist, it can't be salesy, it can't be promotional. You've got to get their attention, remembering that a journalist has a job to do, whether it's selling newspapers or selling ads to get viewers on the TV station. So they need a compelling story, and they don't want fluff. They don't want a marketing message. So what we've seen happen a lot of times is a company thinks, well, I'm paying a marketing person full-time, they can do this for me. And they write an ad instead of a press release. And then they send it to the newspaper, and the advertising person reaches back out and says, you can buy an ad. And they're like, what's going on? Why are they doing that? it's because it's too promotional. It's not written like a journalist would write it. They're not putting that journalist hat on. So that's the key difference. Our team, we have marketers in place, but they're former journalists, so they understand, the delicate balance of promoting a company in a educational way.
Right. I guess it's sort of like hiring a home services business. I mean, I could try to do my own plumbing, but might not work out so well, right? When
Exactly, yeah.
I spring the next leak and I realized, gosh, I should have just hired someone who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So speaking of home services, you started out your career actually working in a home services company, right? You were doing marketing for a home services company. Maybe you could talk to us a little bit about home services businesses. What are some of the trends you're seeing in the home services businesses today? Is the industry changing? Kind of what's new?
There's so much competition. I think I read the other day, there's 400,000 something home service businesses over $1 million in revenue. So, those are decent companies. Imagine how many hundreds of thousands more are just one person, two people shops. So there's a lot going on. They're trying to keep up with regulations. They have licenses they need to be updated. Their biggest competition sometimes are unlicensed workers. And those unlicensed workers give the whole industry a bad name. So what happens is there's all these, like we have a County Speaks Out page on Facebook where people are like, hey, I need a plumber because I had a guy come out and he quoted $800 to fix this or that. And somebody else can fix it for 75 bucks. That's their biggest competition. They don't realize all the bad things that could happen if you don't hire a licensed contractor. Even with licensed, I mean, there's terrible things that can happen. We've managed crises, fortunately, not all the time, but sometimes. You're dealing with gas, water heaters, and bad things can happen. But there's a lot changing. We're seeing the whole gas thing changing sales. We're seeing manufacturers can't keep up with orders. So, water heaters, HVAC units, and all have a delay. But really, it's the competition and standing out and really showing the community why you're more expensive. I've got a project going on at my house, and you really do get what you pay for. If you hire a professional, you get professional work. If you try to save money, you might have to hire another person later to fix it. So, it's really just communicating who you are and the value of your price.
Right. Another thing I've noticed as a customer of home services companies is increasing use of technology in a couple different ways. Sure. One thing that I'm sure we've all probably seen, if you didn't have it in your own house, you probably saw it at friends, is so much of the services now are internet enabled, where you can turn on your lights remotely, using your phone because they're internet enabled. If you have an alarm system, you can manage it, over the internet. Like everything's internet enabled now. Which has really sort of, I think, changed the game as a consumer, smart house. Is that something you're seeing?
Oh, yeah. And we also represent a lot of B2B companies in this space. So, yeah, we hear about all the new technology. We get to help promote it. It's an ever-changing world with smart thermostats and all of that.
Yeah, yeah. So Heather, you've been in business now for a while. How's it going? How's the business itself doing? Are you pleased with your progress?
I am. Business is good. Just like any business, it's hard to figure out those pieces to scale. You don't want to grow too quickly. I've seen companies do it where they just hire and hire and hire to keep up, and they can't train people fast enough. So, as ambitious as I am, I'm trying to control growth. We do pick and choose the types of clients that we work with. I try to balance not only our team and our growth and our training and all of that, but also the onboarding of new clients. It's a very delicate balance that I haven't quite figured out perfectly, but yeah, business is good. We're scaling, but trying to keep it sustainable.
Yeah, terrific. Well, Heather, we're just about out of time. I wanted to ask you, where can people, potential customers, businesses, find you and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, thank you. So the easiest is ripleypr.com, RIPLEY, just like believe it or not. You can fill out the contact form or call us, and I'm happy to talk to anybody. I give away consulting all the time, and I'll tell companies ideas of things they could be doing. Just about everybody I talk to has some kind of news they don't realize is news. But yeah, they can call me or email me at hripley@ripleypr.com. And my book is also available on Amazon. And I do encourage people who are curious to check that out. It's a pretty quick read. It's going to be available on Audible soon, and that'll be easy for them to listen to in their cars. So yeah, those are the 3 ways to get me.
Okay, terrific. Well, Heather, want to thank you for coming on the show. Just terrific to have you here and learn more about your business.
Thank you.
And I want to thank our producer, Tim Alleman, and coordinators, Diette Barnett and Daniel Huddleston. They do a great job. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your colleagues, friends, and family to subscribe. And please leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Helps us in the rankings. Until next time, make it a great week.